Good morning or good afternoon, students. This is Mr. Paul. Welcome to Social Studies, Lesson 2, Day 1. I'm going to turn off the music so that you can hear me better, but I just thought it was kind of a fancy way to start our lesson. And how is this for a prop 2? This is called a globe. Let me hit the music. I want to review what we did yesterday at the last lesson. The main thing we talked about yesterday was, what is a family? And I asked you to complete the sentence, a family is, and I think I also asked you to make a chart. As a quick review, two main things about a family. Families love and care for each other. Often the family we think about is a group of people who stay like in a spot, a house, an apartment, someplace. This group of people usually are related. Moms, could be dad, could be brothers, sisters. You may have aunts, could be staying with you, uncles, grandmas, grandparents. But our family does extend beyond our house or where we live or our apartment, doesn't it? It usually includes other relatives who live in other places and sometimes far away. We also talked about how families help us meet our basic needs. I was hoping you were going to make a chart about the basic needs the chart had to do with where you get your basic needs met. Remember, we have three basic needs. You need to have food, clothing, and shelter. In Mr. Paul's family, I don't make food, I don't grow it, I don't make clothes, and I don't build shelters. If you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm not a very good builder. So that's just kind of what it is going on with me. But thank goodness I live in a community. My city is Grand Rapids, and there's different neighborhoods, and I can drive around, or I can even walk if I want to, and find places to buy food, to get clothing, and also to have shelter. Today what we're going to talk about is, we're going to talk about a girl in this book. It's called I Live in Brooklyn. We're going to find out some things about this girl. Yes, indeed. Now, one thing we're going to find out about is she lives in a special community. A community is a place. Oh, we should do mirror words. Mirror words. A community is a place where people live. I guess I'll make a little house or something over my head. Work. I'm going to pretend that I'm sawing something and play. So I'm just going to pretend I'm playing. These communities have certain characteristics. Now, a characteristic is a way to describe something. In a community, you would describe the characteristics of a community by the buildings and often the people who are there. Another important feature of any story is, besides characters in the story, you find that our story will have a setting. The setting will usually tell you when and where the story is taking place. Like when we did some fairy tales, wasn't part of the setting long ago, and that would be a when. In the where, maybe they were at castles, maybe they're out in the country. That would be all words for the setting. Now, this book is actually about a place that you can find on a map, and we would call that the location. So we could look at a map and find out where the place is found. Alrighty, I'm going to start reading this story, but we want to pay attention to the characteristics of this community, because just looking at the cover, this does not look like a place where Mr. Paul lives. It kind of looks like these buildings look like what you would call a big city. And downtown Grand Rapids does have some big buildings, but I don't live near downtown. I have to drive to get there. I live in a different kind of a place. But this girl lives in a place that is called a city, and she's in Brooklyn. You can tell this is a high quality book because when I took the dust cover off, you see the same picture. Let's see what's inside. Well, that's just plain paper, but still, it's a pretty high quality book. So please listen carefully as I read the story. Now, there's something that I want to talk to you about with books. We talked about this last week. We have two ways of finding out things in books. We have, well, let me open it up. The books have pictures, which give us information, and they also have words. We get information from both. So I want you to pay attention to things that we can learn about this special community from the pictures and the words. Now, we're going to be working on this story for a couple of days. Let me just start reading, though. Away we go. I live in Brooklyn. And away we go. I kind of like that we have a nice map right there. That's the United States. You see Michigan where we live, and in the purple is a place, a state called New York. And then they kind of have a close-up of New York, and they kind of show sort of a specific place that they're at. So part of New York has like a little part of it called Brooklyn. And look at the features of the natural characteristics or features. It's all covered around water. That says Atlantic Ocean. And then there's other parts of New York. There's Queens, Manhattan, and here we are in Brooklyn. That looks like a rather interesting place. And there's the girl, and what a coincidence. There she is waving on a bridge, and we see some boats, which are a form of transportation. And here we go. My name is Michelle. I am 6 years old. I live in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn is one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. A river separates us from Manhattan. So she has an ocean, and she also has a river. My neighborhood is called Carroll Gardens. At night, when I'm in my bed, I can hear the ships blowing their whistles. Well, when Mr. Paul is laying in his bed at night, I usually hear just dogs barking. That's another story. In my house, Daddy wakes up first every morning. Then my mom and little sister Lucy. I am always last. My mom has to wake me up because I'm usually deep in a fun dream. Mom makes breakfast quickly and starts to get ready for work. My grandma arrives to take care of Lucy while Mom and Dad are at work. I take the B75 bus, transportation, with my mom. She drops me off at school and then goes to her office. Now, both Mom and the kiddo are on the bus. Is that a school bus? Is it a city bus? I think that's a city bus because when students from New Branches get off a bus, I don't see the moms and the dads riding the bus. So this is public transportation. That means anyone can use it. Off we go. I know that we leave the house a little early, but sometimes we have to run to catch the bus almost every day. Mom says, "Good exercise, Michelle," after we get on. If I get to school early, I play in the playground. It's fun, even if it's just for a few moments. So there's her playground. It looks a little smaller than ours. When school starts, I find my best friend Mary and Rosa. Oh, my best friends. Then we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and our teacher, Mrs. Betty, starts the class. Free choice time is the best part of the day. We get to choose whatever we want to do. Computer, drawing, games, puzzles. I pick drawing every time. I also love the school bake sales. My grandma helps me make cookies to sell. Everybody brings a quarter and buys one of the treats for a snack. We are always so excited to be on the bus. It's pretty noisy until Mrs. Betty says, "Be quiet, calm down, everyone. Let's take a field trip." Oh, we do take a field trip almost every month. The school bus takes us to many places, like the aquarium, the zoo, the theater. Look at that bridge they're going across, and there's their bus. One day we went to the Central Park Zoo. My favorite animals are the penguins. Mary and I were impressed that they can swim so fast. Now, if you go to John Ball Park, you can see penguins too. The American Museum of Natural History is the best. I wish I could stay there for a few days and see everything. Now, this is different from a zoo because these animals are not any longer alive. They might have statues of them, or maybe they're stuffed animals. If you go to our museum in Grand Rapids, you can see some displays like that. Oh, that looks fun. Every fall, we spend a day apple picking in upstate New York. I like crisp apples. A few weeks later, we visit a pumpkin patch and choose a few huge pumpkins for jack-o'-lanterns. Now, I don't think they're in the big city anymore. I think they went to a different place called the country. My mom sewed my Halloween costume. She's so good at creating things. This year, I'm Little Red Riding Hood. Kate, Sam, Gigi, Lena, and I go trick-or-treating in our neighborhood. We collect a lot of candy. My mom says you can eat as much as you want tonight, but starting tomorrow, you have to choose only one piece of candy a day. Remember we talked about basic needs? Mom sewed some clothes, so sometimes people make their own clothes. Mr. Paul's making connections. The Christmas tree stands start to appear on the street corners around the first week of December. We always buy our tree from the same farm from Vermont. My mom and Lucy and I make origami Christmas ornaments. We make baskets, snowmen, a little house, peppermint sticks, and Christmas stockings. Daddy takes me window shopping on Fifth Avenue every year. It is fun to see Santa Claus standing in the crowd with his bell. We spend Christmas Day at my grandparents' house. My grandma is a good cook. She cooks a feast of ham, chicken with stuffing, salad, chocolate cake, and cookies. All right, I want to go there. Once in a while, we have a snow day in Brooklyn. Daddy starts to shovel the sidewalk in the front of our house as soon as the snow stops, so no one will slip. Then we bundle up and go to Prospect Park. We bring our sled and slide down the hill over and over until we are cold and our feet are wet. Ooh, a natural feature of a community. Now, the hill was basically put there by nature. People didn't make the hill, so we would call that a natural feature. We also go to Prospect Park to the skate rink every weekend in the winter. We go in the morning because it will be very crowded in the afternoon. Whenever my mom makes a sandwich, she saves the edges of the bread for us so that we can feed the ducks in the park. They're always hungry. A pond is also a natural feature. That's made by nature. But the skating rink was probably man-made, I'm guessing. I like having play dates with my friends. The problem is Lucy often bothers us. My mom reads to us before we go to sleep each night. Lucy and I may choose 1 or 2 picture books each. I like folk tales. I go to swimming class every Monday. I couldn't swim at all when I started taking lessons, but now I can do the forward crawl. Sometimes my grandma takes us to a restaurant after swimming. Lucy and I order something sweet, and Grandma always has coffee, just like Mr. Paul. I'm not going to read this whole page, but this girl likes to collect things. She has her favorite stuff, just different things that she collects. I like the Marushka dolls. Each doll fits inside of the other one. Here's a feature of a big city that sometimes you'll see in Grand Rapids. What is the smell of the city? There are many tasty smells along the way. Now, these are called vendors, different places where she can get different types of things to eat. Big cities often have vendors on sidewalks. When the weather turns warm in the spring, we bicycle to Prospect Park, where there is a zoo, a playground, a carousel, a lake with boats, and lots of trails and grass. After we eat lunch, my mom packed, we lie down. I see clouds like cotton candy in the blue sky and hear a mother bird calling her babies. My grandparents live on 1 block from our house. My grandpa became an artist after he retired. He likes to draw flowers. I often draw with him. I feel like I can draw better when he is sitting next to me and teaching me. So look at that. It doesn't look like people have a front yard in a big city. When they just go down the steps of their house, they're on the sidewalk and there's the road. My school summer vacation lasts more than 2 months. I play with my neighbors outside after dinner every night. It stays light until 8:30. We play hopscotch, jump rope, and draw on the sidewalk with chalk. On the 4th of July, we go up to our roof and watch the fireworks with our neighbors. The fireworks are so beautiful, somehow I feel a little sad when they are over. My mom and I go to the farmer's market in Union Square before my aunt comes to visit during the summer. Sometimes the lettuce has holes from caterpillars because it is organic. Soon our basket is filled with bunches of flowers, vegetables, bread, homemade jam, and fresh eggs. Are you digging where they found food in their community? They went to a place called a farmer's market rather than Myers, like where Mr. Paul goes. Mom and Dad take us to the beach at Coney Island every summer. We said communities are places where people can have fun too. We wear swimsuits under our clothes. The last stop of the F train is Coney Island. The F line runs above the ground in Brooklyn, and I like to look out the window. Lucy always falls asleep on the train. We go to the amusement park, and after playing on the beach, my favorite ride is the Ferris wheel. I love the thrill and the view. We go home sandy, sticky, and tired. Finally, I turn 7. This year, we will go bowling for my birthday party. I invited 5 friends, Mary, Rosa, Gigi, Beth, and Alex. Afterward, we all come back to my house for ice cream and cake. I feel like such a happy, lucky girl. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Now, that is the end of my story. I'm thinking what you could do today is maybe take a walk with an adult around your neighborhood, and can you draw some of the things that you see? Do you see houses? Are there buildings? Maybe you could draw transportation. How do people get around? Are they riding bikes? Do you see people walking, driving cars, trucks? Is there a train near you? Do you see planes going overhead? So that is what I would like you to do. Draw your community, and just by taking a little walk around your neighborhood with an adult. Alrighty? Thank you for listening. We're not going to be done with this story yet, but this will be our first lesson. Bye-bye.